Good evening, ass kickers. I'm coming to you live from the Tampa Airport Marriott, Florida. Going to be shoving off here real soon, going to China, going to be there for a good month and a half or so, training my ass off. And before I leave, I wanted to cover something in regard to the habits that I started talking about yesterday on New Year's Eve. And the simplest thing to understand here is that here's the iPad pencil, is keeping track and keeping score is to be done with a pencil. I know they're creating all these apps, and I know they can give you reminders and so on about your habits and your commitments. But the hands build the brain. The hands and the feet build the brain. This is why writing with an instrument, whether it's an iPad pencil or whether it's a pen or a pencil, is so important to the brain. And not printing, by the way, gives you some brain stimulation, but actually learning to write in cursive. Actually learning to write what they call in the UK or Australia joined up or joined writing. The word cursive actually means running along. The words run along. They keep going. This stimulates the brain. Also the circular patterns, the loops, stimulate the loops in the brain. And so when you form a habit, such as writing every day in your journal, or what I talked about, writing a poem every single day. I'm not talking about typing one on a computer. I'm talking about writing with my own hand. This is key. The other thing to understand is that if you can't change a habit that's associated with your hands and your feet, which are closer to you than anything else, then you're not ready to tackle a habit that's way off in the distance. Build confidence, build momentum with something very tangible, very close to you. Now, suppose you don't want to start with cursive handwriting. Well, what could you do then? Well, start implementing a habit change to see how correct what I'm saying is. And this would be, for example, let's say this were my toothbrush. And I'm right-handed, so every day I brush my teeth right-handed. Very good. Now let's switch it to the left hand. For 21 days. Not for 2 or 3 to see how you feel about it. For 21 days. I know there's a lot of noise here with the aeroplanes. I'll try to talk over it. But you get the idea here? This will explain to you why you want to work on changing one habit at a time, not 50. You start brushing your teeth with your left hand. You do that every day for 21 days. Then you switch back to the right on day 22 and you don't feel comfortable. Something's wrong. So you just go back to brushing with the left. On the 22nd day, you just switch back. Yeah, this actually felt better. Now, if you're a lefty, you would do it righty. All right, you take another example, would be shaving. But you got to shave every day in order for this to work. If you shave every 3 or 4 days, it doesn't really work. It's got to be a daily habit. Tying your shoes or putting on your shoes. Instead of putting on both socks and then your shoes, put a sock on and a shoe on the same foot, then a sock on and a shoe on the other foot. Instead of putting on your shirt or blouse first, you put on your pants first, or vice versa. If you wear a watch still, instead of it being on the left side, you put it on the right side. If you wear a wedding ring, put it on the other ring finger. Do something that changes one thing, and you keep it going for 21 days. Then you realize that if I tried to do 5 or 10 or 50 things all at once, it wouldn't work. None of it would take hold. But when you do one thing, writing cursive, you learn how, and you're no good at it now. Currently, you're writing sucks. That's great. It's an opportunity to get it better, to do the work, to practice. When I first started writing cursive regularly every day 3 years ago, or 4 years ago, it was horrible. It was absolutely terrible. I just stayed on it every day. I keep a journal, and every single day in the journal I would write not only the date, but what day I was on in this journey. This is the same idea here. You keep track of something simple. Then you build momentum, and then you say, you know what? I think I could add this now. It's this way with food. You want to change and radically lose weight and get super fit? You don't try to make a quantum leap change. You start with something and say, all right, you know what? I'm going to eliminate beer and alcohol. All right? You do that for 21 days. Or I'm going to eliminate all the carbos. You do that. And I'm going to walk every day 3 miles. One thing after the other. Once you get momentum, it becomes super, super easy to add another habit and another one and another habit. And before you know it, in a year's time, you've got about 15 new habits or more that you've not only started, but you're still following, and now you're getting quantum growth because you were smart enough to start small. This is where the think big philosophy is freaking bullshit. Thinking big works, and there's a way to work it, but not when somebody's first trying to build the self-image and to establish momentum. That is a horrendous advice. This is why nearly a year ago I wrote this poem, and it's very simple to memorize. When you think big, you stumble on every twig. When you think small, you realize you can have it all. Start with small changes. Start with small things. Build the momentum. Get things rolling in your life. And then add the next thing. And then add the next thing. And for crying out loud, stop freaking whining. I'm Matt Fury. This has been another episode of Zen Master Says. Make sure that you pass this stuff around to other people so we can take over the world or the universe. Hit the like button if you're a good person. And put this stuff all over social media. Let's kick some ass. Yes. 2019. Oh yeah. Kick ass. Take names.